Let's do it.
Yours and life, what's going on? I'm here today on election day, vote, 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 with my friend, attachment expert, Paula Sacks. Hi, Paula.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here. This is a special day. It's an
It's a
important
very
day.
special day.
So I think it's serendipitous that we're talking about such a substantial thing. And I'd like to start by quoting you when you said, "I'm on a mission to make sure parents understand how to
Mm.
develop secure attachment in their children." That's so beautiful. Can you talk about that, please?
Yes, it's as an attachment specialist and Daniel, I know you know, but there was a group of us in Boston and we wrote a book on it's called Attachment Disturbances in Adults, Treating Attachment Repair. And what we do is we treat people with insecure attachment
Mhm.
and we use our model that we developed, but a lot of it is through hypnosis where we take insecure attachment styles and we do 5 primary conditions
Mhm.
and help them get secure attachment. So like last summer, I think it was, my niece had, babies that came into the world and it was twins and they were in the hospital premature. And I started getting this feeling like, I wonder what they're feeling right now coming into the world. They're in the hospital with, people in incubators and everything. And I thought, wow, I think we need to have a book about what the child is experiencing, what the child needs from parents, because this is what I do in my office with my clients.
Mhm.
So I developed this kind of story book, but manual, because as the story unfolds, so it's a story of a little angel who is somewhere else before they come into the world,
Mhm.
and he's been told that he's going to be born. And
Mhm.
he has all these anxieties about who are these people? How are they going to take care of me? How am I going to, just what's going to happen? And so basically, he, the wisest angel, knows this, takes him by the hand, and they go for this walk. And she starts telling him about these parents he's going to be born to and how they know how to take care of him.
Mhm.
And there's something called the 5 primary conditions that we know that actually develop secure attachment. And the first one is felt safety. And it's not just what the parent does, because parents, we all want the best for our children.
Right.
And I'm talking about, when I talk about the 5 primary conditions, I'm talking about what the child feels.
Mm.
All right. So a parent knows to make your child safe. A child is 100% dependent on their parent
Right.
or caregiver or grandparent, whoever raises the child. It doesn't matter who it is, but they cannot function alone. So they're 100% dependent on us. And
Mm.
so if we know 5 primary conditions to help them, it's such an advantage. All right. So the first one is felt safety. And this, go ahead.
Let me touch on that because I want to address the fact that what we're talking about, and I see it positioned behind you, is this book, The Importance of Love Raise, right?
Yeah.
This is the storybook manual to help develop this secure
Mhm.
attachment in adults with kids. And the thing about felt safety that stands out is you use the word felt,
Felt.
right? So the child is feeling safe. It's not just you're safe from falling or the house has been baby proofed.
Exactly.
Right, we're talking about a felt sense of safety. Please go on.
E- Exactly. And I think that's where attachment sometimes gets a bad rap, as if the parent is doing something and the child's not getting it.
Right.
But what I'm talking about, the other day I saw some wild turkeys walking in my yard, and we're talking about pre-narrative. Before a child can talk, before the child has a metacognitive understanding of language or reasoning or anything. And
Mhm.
I watched these little turkeys just follow their mom, and they were doing it for safety.
Mhm.
And it was fascinating to see. So what I'm talking about is that the child feels safe. So the child doesn't understand when you lock them into a car seat going on a car ride that there could be a possibility of getting in a car accident, et cetera, et cetera. They don't understand any of that.
Right.
Okay. But they just have this internal need to feel safety. So if parents are screaming in the house, or if doors are slamming, or if the radio's too loud and the child gets startled and is left there unattended to, the child's not going to feel safe.
Right.
All right. And we see this. So this establishes trust because the parents are the trust. And then that gets taken over into a larger society, and then it becomes the world. And if a person grows up without that felt sense of safety, they're not going to feel the world is safe.
And respond accordingly.
and respond accordingly. And when I talk about these 5 primary conditions, it's not just for infancy. This is all the way through a child's life. So imagine the campaign now for anti-bullying. Well, the reason for that is if a child is going to school and they're not safe,
Right.
their internal world is going to be so hyper vigilant about safety that they're not going to be able to take in schoolwork. They're not going to be taking into social development with other peers. Anti-bullying has this, it disrupts
Right.
so much developmental lines and learning lines. And it's about this basic primary condition, which is a feeling of safety, felt safety,
Mm. So
right?
without the felt safety, a lot of the child's inner resources are spent being hyper vigilant and hyper aware of their surroundings. So they're using up the resources that they could use attentionally towards learning new skills or connecting or growing. So felt safety is
Exactly.
crucial,
Exactly.
critical.
You
Beautiful.
know, exactly, which is why, you see other kids, just fly through school, and then you see other kids that really struggle. Well, there's a possibility that there's something attachment wise going on here, and it could be a sense of safety.
So felt safety is the first one. What's the second one?
The second one is called feeling once again,
Yes.
seen and known.
Mm.
All right. And what this means is it's a baby comes into the world, they have one cry. They
Mhm.
don't have a cry for hunger, a cry for being wet, a cry for being tired. They don't have a different cry. But you know how you hear the mother that say, I know that's my baby crying.
Yes.
Exactly, because it's a feeling of seen and known. And when that baby cries, the mother is so attuned. And I'm going to interchange mother with father, grandparent, caregiver. Okay, what I really mean is primary condition. Who's with that child the most? So a lot of times I will say the mother, but I'm actually talking about, interchangeably who it could be.
Right.
And it's where that child, that person really knows that I know that child is tired. I know they're hungry. I know that they must not be feeling well because I know I just changed them. I know they woke up from their nap. This kind of attunement. And as the child, that's in infancy. And as the child gets a little bit older, the mother starts playing back like, I wonder how you're feeling right now that you just built those blocks, you
Right.
know?
So just
Or
and seeing if the attunement matches the child's experience. So giving them a voice for their experience.
absolutely. And that helps the child metacognitively
Yeah.
because they start understanding their internal world, what they feel, what they know. It starts kind of matching up.
Right.
So it's a beautiful seen and known, a union here.
Hmm.
And once again, all of these things are about what the child experiences. Why the storybook that I wrote is really from the child's perspective, which makes it a very unique manual.
Amazing. So that's the second one. What's the third one?
The third one is once again, felt comfort.
Mm.
Not me telling you as a parent, this is what you need to do for your baby. But what I'm telling you is what your child needs, which is to feel comfort.
Yeah.
So, the child is going to get frustrated. They don't know. They don't know what they're feeling. They don't know what's going on. They just don't feel right. They're crying.
Yeah.
And the mother needs to, once again, be with the child, be close to the child, hold the child, touch the child, soothe the child, even as the child gets older. And we all know this, those terrible twos, those temper tantrums, they're so frustrated that the mother needs to just hold them in that.
That's so crucial. That sense of physical soothing and comfort. We're built for it. We need it. It's
We
required.
need,
Right.
we not only do we need it, but we also internalize it because, life comes at us very early.
Mhm.
And we all need to experience disappointment. So a disappointment to a 2-year-old is going to be different than a disappointment to an 8-year-old. But
Right.
we need those disappointments and we need that soothing to know that it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world, that we will get through this. And it's kind of like how you keep building and building and building. So, for instance, it's appropriate for a 2-year-old to throw themselves down in my office crying, having a temper tantrum. Totally appropriate. Not so appropriate for a 40-year-old person to do it.
Mm.
Make sense?
Of course, it makes sense. But then also, my heart goes out to the 40-year-old who's still experiencing the tantrum as a 2-year-old because they didn't have that soothing that created a sense of secure attachment for them to learn to move through that.
I agree with you, which is why they come to see me and we go back and we start doing work around this.
Amazing.
And then with our protocol, where this book came from, is our ideal parent protocol. We have them sit in frustration in the loving arms of their positive opposite ideal parents,
Mhm.
and we soothe them and they start learning it as adults. Very,
Okay.
very powerful. But once again, the 5 primary conditions play out even in adulthood.
Mhm. Right. So you built this whole network of repair if it doesn't happen early, but preemptively to give instruction manuals, support, and guidance
Mhm.
for new parents so this doesn't happen.
That's why this is why, everybody says like babies don't come with a manual. Well, now they do.
Right now we got a manual. So that's the third one. What's the fourth function?
Okay, the fourth one is my absolute favorite.
Okay.
Okay, which is what the book is built on. Okay, and just because I love it, and I do it in hypnosis, out of hypnosis, I do it all the time. I even do it, just straight teaching,
Mhm.
and it's called Express Delight.
Mm.
And what this means is, for the child's perspective, once again, feeling valued.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so and I'll give you an example of this because I actually, we all have this experience, but we all have that experience when we're in the elevator and someone walks in, let's say a mother or father with their 3-year-old.
Mhm.
Okay. Now this is the kind of the stage where, if the mother or the father, let's just say in this case, a caregiver.
Okay.
Let's say the caregiver has an attention, an insecure attachment style of an anxious preoccupied, and that child says, I want to press the button, right?
Yeah.
And the anxious, preoccupied caregiver, who's more concerned about what the other people in the elevator think, say to the child, no, let other people press the button.
Mhm.
All right. It's a missed opportunity for this express delight. And I'll get to it in just a moment. And then let's say there's another caregiver who has the opposite insecure attachment style of dismissive,
Mhm.
and they say, do whatever you want.
Mhm.
And the child's pressing all the buttons. All right. Now, if you have this, because poodles make poodles, remember.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the child is learning from this behavior of the parent. But if we have let's say, a securely attached parent, or we have an insecure parent that knows the 5 primary conditions and they do the positive opposite.
Mhm.
So, for instance, you get in the elevator, the parent knows the developmental range of that child, 3 years old, let's say, just learned what the letter 3 looks like. They get in the elevator, regardless who's in the elevator, and the child says, I want to press the button. I want to press the button.
Right.
And she says, press number 3. That's the floor we're going to. Now she knows the child knows 3. So he goes and presses the button. The first thing he does, and you can watch this,
Mhm.
he turns to the mother
Right.
for that eye contact. So they have this express delight in this accomplishment.
Amazing.
Okay. And next time you get in the elevator, just watch it. It's a natural occurrence. And what this is it is self-esteem,
Mhm.
because self-esteem is created in children when they have a sense of accomplishment pressing that button,
Mhm.
and then it's matched
Mhm.
with a feel-good state.
Right. Absolutely. It's a truly electric language to watch between parent and child when that happens. You
It's true.
connect. It's tremendous.
It's tremendous. And you see it. And once again, the reason why I focus so much on love rays is because children learn with their eyes. They don't learn with their ears.
Mhm.
All right. So this is an opportunity. When I say love rays, I'm talking about pouring rays of love into your eyes.
Yeah.
And that child feels it.
Yes.
All right. Even this is like for adults. You see people that fall in love, they just stare at each other and smile. They don't talk.
Right.
Well, it's love rays going back and forth.
Right. It's enough.
Okay.
Yeah. It's enough.
Yeah, and even when you go to let's say a little birthday party that people are having for you, and they're so excited to see you, you feel all the love rays come at you, and it just feels so good.
Mhm.
The opposite can also be true. You walk into some place and people are in a bad mood. We're talking about voting day today. I think the world needs love rays right now,
Big time.
big time, because you go around, everybody's like angry and frustrated and depressed and anxious. You can feel the tension. There's no love rays going on.
Yeah. No one feels safe.
Well, it's right there. But if we were to just like, let's start getting some love rays out there, and let's start, put that feel good state with people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why this one is probably my favorite, because this is self-esteem. This is feeling good about yourself. And
Right.
let me tell you, it's not just for babies. This is for children. This is for going to get your coffee at Starbucks. This is looking at your spouse of 30 years. This is through life.
Right. It's
So
the most valuable international currency we have. If we could just exchange this with one another on a regular basis, you would see seismic change instantaneously.
instantaneously. And some people do it naturally and they don't even know they're doing it. And then there's other people that, they need to know how to do it.
Mhm.
And so once again, this book is going to kind of really illustrate that.
I love it. All right, so that's 4. That's your favorite. We got one more. What's 5?
We've got one more. And this one, it starts a little bit later. So, and also I just want to say that even though we're talking about these as like 5 different ones,
Yeah.
they're always kind of going on and they're always kind of working together. So, you kind of need safety with comfort. You
Right.
kind of need being seen and known with Express Delight. And the next one is what kind of led me to write my second children's book, which is Love Raise.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's because it's called, like, once again, in the child, felt support inside. And this is done because the parents have, it's the parents just, showing that they want the best for the child, not for themselves, for the child.
Right.
Now, a perfect example of that would be, your child always wants to go to be an artist, but the parents are both doctors and they're like, no, you can't be an artist. You have to be a doctor.
Right.
Well, that's about the parents. That's not about the child.
Right. So the celebration of the child's path as it's meaningful to the child.
Where the child is and what the child wants, and putting that child before your own wishes, dreams, and desires.
Incredible.
Let the child be the child,
Mhm.
not move the child where you want the child to be, and they're not an extension of you. When we see this later on with children, with parents that, let's say, navigate the child too much, the child kind of grows up and doesn't have a sense of what they want, and they're always anxious because they don't know what they want because it was never developed.
Right. What a humane function. What a beautiful function to offer to your child. And I also want to say simultaneously, I understand that it could be challenging for parents.
And this is where I want to, especially as an attachment specialist, because I view attachment as putting in the positive.
Right.
I don't see this as shaming parents or anything, or, parents messed up because, it's in my office, my parents.
Right.
Well, I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
I kind of see it because with my treatment, I put in the positive opposite parents. We do a lot of work around that. So I see attachment as a positive thing.
Mhm.
But once again, in order to give that to your child, you need to know. And out of our book that we did, which is 793 pages, I've taken all of that and made a little, kind of preventative tool to help parents raise securely attached children.
Well, that is a helpful thing you did, because as much as I love that book, it is impenetrable in certain aspects. So I imagine that the importance of Love Raise and the Love Raise books will probably be more accessible for people who don't want such a complete academic review of attachment.
I agree. And I mean, honestly, when you have a new baby, I mean, we all want that, I'm just going to love my baby. I'm going to love my baby, and I'm going to do the exact opposite I didn't get, or I'm going to do the exact thing I got. We all know that.
Right.
But, life gets in the way.
Sure.
Life gets in the way. And I think if you just know the basic ground rules and don't worry about anything, and know that you're not perfect, and know that it's not more, it's all I'm asking for is more often than not. And it's like those little moments in the elevator, or when your child's on the soccer field, watch your child make that goal, or even try to make that goal and rejoice, rather than get caught up with all the parent drama.
Right.
Or, when you're breastfeeding or feeding a baby, grandparent, nanny, whomever, that's the moment you just sit and stare and pour love into your child. I mean, what greater thing to do?
It's the whole show, Paula.
It's the whole show.
I love that. I love all the work you're doing. I'm such a fan of all of the books. I really appreciate it. And what a helpful tool for new parents, because as you talk about it, it's a positive map that they can follow. It doesn't work from an absence. It operates from this idea of inherent abundance. Just go this way, do this thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like we covered a lot of ground, and I'm glad that we did. But if we had to consolidate it and leave people watching this with a takeaway, what would you say to them, Paul?
I would have them say that focus on the chores. No, I'm sorry. Don't focus on the chores. Focus on the joys of parenting. All right. And part of that is love is a verb, and it's an action. And what I'm presenting to you is what your child needs to feel in order to have secure attachment.
Incredible.
And that's what I would take away.
Thank you, Paula Sacks. What a delight. Thanks for spending time with me on this potentially unsafe feeling day. Look up
Well,
your books, and I hope I speak to you again soon.
you will. Thank you so much for having me. Take care.